Joining me today in this conversation is Upasana Taku, co-founder of MobiKwik. Upasana, many thanks for speaking to PTI.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine.
Upasana, let's start off with the fintech market. What is the outlook for fintech growth this year?
So, see, it's an exciting time to be in FinTech India, especially. I think we've grown a lot as a sector in the last decade or so. But, I think that there is so much more to be done. Why? Because, see, digital payments we've done really well. UPI is trying to reach more and more people. But, sitting in large cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, we think that, payments has reached everyone or FinTech has reached everyone. But that is not the case. Even today, everything said and done, only roughly 400, 500 million Indians are actively paying digitally. So everyone else is still on cash. So that's the starting point. After that, you should think about all the other financial products, whether it is credit, whether it is insurance, whether it is investing. All of that has reached even lower number of people, less than 100 million in each case. So, when you talk about 100 million and we're a country of 1.3, 1.35 billion, it's like not even 10%, right? So, 10% of India has access to multiple financial products, but 90% of India does not. So, I think the overall market opportunity is still very, very large. Next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it's going to be a growth story when it comes to fintech or financial services. There are many banks, there are many NBFCs, there are insurance companies, there are AMCs, there are fintechs. Despite all of these, we are where we are. So I think there is still a very large growth opportunity. So from that perspective, as a fintech entrepreneur, I'm always very excited about what the future has to hold, because all these entities and upcoming new startups, new wannabe entrepreneurs are going to keep trying to build new things, new products, new services, new innovations. And these innovations will either serve an end customer like you or me, or an end customer in a small village of India, or an MSME, small business owner. And then there will be people who will try to solve for niches for each of those. And in the process of all of this innovation and disruption, ultimately, the dream of every nation is that financial inclusion should happen. Every Indian should have access to all the financial products that they need. So I think वो होने में तो अभी भी I think 10-20 साल लगेंगे. So there's a lot of opportunity in front of us. Now when you're talking about the new financial year, and that is a more short-term view, what do I expect? I think that 2-3 areas. I think that we've seen last 6-7 months a little bit of sentiment issue in the lending side. I think that there we see now some green shoots, and I expect that lending in all forms, whether secured, unsecured, cards, we'll start seeing scaling up now. In a way, there was tilted growth in the last 6-7 months, a lot of control on underwriting. So I think that will change. I think when it comes to the investing side, whether it is mutual funds, whether it's the stocks, gold, whichever form factor you think about, we will see more Indians, joining that investing journey, the saving journey. So there will be more innovations and more companies trying to serve those users as well. And then, of course, insurance side also, I think there will be a lot of opportunity. And in all of this, the B2B fintech companies who are actually creating the pipes, between all these players, between consumer-facing or merchant-facing fintechs to the OEMs, or solving for the regulatory arbitrage. I think all of these, companies will flourish. And last but not the least, you will see ample use of AI and machine learning. I can think of usage of AI for personalization, usage of AI for process automation, simplifying things, churning, looking at data. So I think a lot of those, things are going to come. It seems like an exciting time to be in this space in India.
And I will come to AI and how that's going to change the way people access fintech and the way fintechs, change their offering or tweak their offering for better outcomes. But before that, I wanted to ask you, how do you look at, the macroeconomic changes that are happening, in terms of what we're seeing in the overseas market, the uncertainty due to tariff moves by the US, and the retaliatory tariff moves by Europe and other markets. And I ask you this because although, you are focused on the domestic market, at the end of the day, any impact on jobs or export oriented industries also has an impact on the consumption of fintech products per se by users. How do you look at all of this, and what impact do you see of this on fintech prospects?
No, absolutely. I think you're right. We are sitting here in India, building for India, for Indians. But everything that's happening at the macro global level impacts us. And I'll explain just 2, 3 simple examples. So, with all the announcements, President Trump has been making and the reactions to that, you've seen the market moving, you've seen the dollar to rupee, the currency exchange rates fluctuating. Now, something as simple as that. Most of our service providers in India, we don't have our own Google, unlike a China. We don't have our own Meta. We use the same Meta and the same Google that is, built in America, and it's priced in dollars. So all of those services become expensive for all Indian companies that are using their products here in India. Everybody uses AdWords. Everybody uses Facebook marketing. So there you go. I mean, just a very simple example that the marketing cost for the same product or service is now going to increase. If the rupee is at 80 versus 90 or 85, it makes a difference to your OPEX. I'll give you another example, right? Now, the economy in India is also built of professionals. Many of these professionals are working for global companies. Those global companies, whether they are American or European or Canadian, will be impacted if a recession kicks in any of those countries or geographies. If a recession kicks in, then their back offices here will probably have layoffs. That will hit the Indian economy. So those customers of mine who are spending digitally on what should we call them, non-essentials, discretionary spend, that will go down. And if their jobs are in dire straits or there is optimization, then all those loans that people were taking to buy houses, cars, all that will dry off. So I'm just giving you a very simple example that I am the least politically inclined person. I don't want to read or understand what is happening in politics. But as an entrepreneur, I'm forced to understand that what happened today in America, what happened in Canada, what happening in China, because as a reaction to that, I know that there will be chain of events that will impact my business directly, because that will impact millions of Indians here in India.
So, how do you navigate the business environment then? I mean, how do you navigate, your market forays, new offerings? How do you look at the market and how you're going to address it? Because there seem to be different layers. While there's a good runway for growth from the fintech market in India itself, there are also these, cross geography headwinds. Globalization seems to be on a U turn right now. When you look at all of this at one go, what is it in terms of the strategy that you are going to adopt for this calendar year or for FY26?
So, see, good point. First thing is that whether it is macro changes at the global level or whether they are at the Indian level, change is a way of living because things will keep changing. And specifically in India, fintech is a very regulated market. So now I can tell you that I'm battle hardened because this is the 16th year of building MobiKwik. We'll complete 16 years in August. And over the course of these years, every year or every few years, we've seen, policy level changes at the government, or we've seen regulatory changes made by the regulator, which will impact the business in one way or the other. So it's not, that these changes that we are talking about right now is the first time, we'll see change. So we've become a little equipped to adapt to change rather quickly. Instead of trying to, instead of being in denial, we try to be early observers and try to adapt to change quickly. And the path to success, specifically for fintech founders, I will say, lies in walking a tightrope. Or the tightrope is across growth, profitability, innovation, and regulatory constraints. So you have to walk between that in any case. If you want to do something innovative, you better not be outside of the boundary lines of regulation. If you want to grow very fast, you better not be too far away from break-even or profitability. So anyways, you're walking a tightrope. And so even with all these different types of macro changes or headwinds, some at the local or country level, some at the global level, one has to keep charging ahead. So that's the first thing. So what do? Firstly, you try to de-risk yourself. So for example, in the financial year 25 itself, let's say 3 quarters of our results are out. And you can see that first 2 quarters we were profitable and the third quarter we were not. Now, why we were not profitable in the third quarter is very apparent in our earnings presentation, is that we've done so well on payments. We are growing quarter over quarter on an annual basis. If I compare 9 months of FY25 to the 9 months of FY24, it will look like we've grown more than 3.5x. So payments is doing exceptionally well and the margins are holding. So while we are growing 3.5x, we are still holding the margin, making good chunk of money. What has not worked for us is that, like we were just discussing a few minutes ago, in towards the second half of 2024 calendar year, we saw some headwinds in the unsecured lending space. Some of it were driven due to, regulatory notifications on pricing, etc., etc. And so what happened is that there was tightening in the market. Everybody wanted to do lower disbursals, underwriting was tightened, pricing was reduced, etc., etc. So it did not impact just MobiKwik, it impacted all banks, NBFCs and all fintechs. But the ramification of that is that in our third quarter we are negative because we have done so little disbursal as compared to last year same time that it has an effect on your EBITDA. So that's something where we did not adapt fast enough or we were not ready. But now we've learned from that. And this can happen again and again. So the way we are trying to build our business for FY25 is we want to de-risk from one product or one line of business. So have enough lines of business. As an example, MobiKwik is a payments company and it sounds very simple for an outsider that, okay, there's payments, you make money when a user transacts, the merchant probably pays you something like a credit card fee. But that's not it. Payments as a line of business actually has 4 or 5 different sub areas for us. Like there is bill payments where we are ranked number 4 or 5. There is wallet where we are ranked number 1. There is UPI where we are probably number 15 or so. And then there are others also. There's PAPG, what is called payment gateway business. And I'm just trying to tell you that our payments revenue is not contingent only on one thing. It is contingent on 4 or 5 different subcategories. So if one category doesn't do so well, 1 quarter or 6 months, other categories will accommodate. They will grow faster to accommodate for that. Similarly, while we have this payments business, we were trying to build a distribution business where we distribute various financial products, starting with credit products, then savings or investment products, and then also we are now getting into insurance products. So one learning is we can't be dependent just on distribution of credit products. Second learning is we can't be dependent just on distribution of unsecured lending products. If we are distributing credit products, we better distribute secured and unsecured. And by the way, we should also distribute savings product where there is no risk at all, so to speak, because Indians are always saving, so to speak. So that is one thought, is to diversify, build more lines of business, drive growth there. So for example, something like an investing vertical is a baby vertical for us. Currently, what do we have there? We have an offering called lens.ai, where about 5 million Indians have given us consent, and using the account aggregator framework, we pull their bank statements, and so we are able to show them their combined bank statement and their spends. And on top of that, using AI, that's why it's called lens.ai, user can ask any question like, how much did I spend on travel in the last 1 year? How much have I spent on groceries in the last 2 months? And the chatbot will give you a reply on that. And the intention from that is for people should be able to understand their expenses or spends better and analyze their investments better. And then when they seek financial advice, we should be able to guide them that why don't you invest here? Why don't you do this? So a very simple investment product we've built is enable Indians to invest into FD from multiple providers. So on the MobiKwik app today, you can compare the FD rates across multiple banks and multiple deposit taking NBFCs like a Bajaj or a Shriram, etc., where you will get higher yields, let's say from your, as compared to your large bank, where the yields might be lower. So this is something that is new and where we are seeing significant traction. And the idea there is that markets can go up and down, so maybe people will invest less in stock market, but every Indian always is investing into fixed deposits because it's safe money. Every Indian is always investing into digital gold, so because it's safe money. So these are the ways we are trying to focus on. We'll continue investing in new things in growing payments business, so that is happening nicely. User acquisition, merchant acquisition, devices, all of that is happening well. Then there is the side of distribution of financial products, where we are trying to build up new verticals now. We are trying to build this investments vertical or savings vertical, where we want to build a bouquet of products. We are trying to build an insurance vertical, where we are just now in the process of doing tie-ups with insurance companies so that we can bring those products to our users and our small merchants.
If you could just give us a sense of, the number of users who are on your platform and number of merchants who are using it, how do you slice and dice that? How many monthly average users do you see? Could you just give us a sense of how big, what is the size and scale of MobiKwik at this point of time?
So MobiKwik today serves more than 170 million users. I think that number is higher than that, but it's more than 170 for sure. In terms of merchants, we cater to about 5 million merchants. So we have our small merchant network, which means the kirana stores near you. We have the petrol pumps, the large departmental stores, chemists, etc. And then we are also in e-commerce. We are present in 1.5 lakh e-commerce stores as well.
Upasana, when you look back at your journey, what best describes it? I mean, it has been stormy in bits, satisfactory outcomes at other times, a listing followed by a very volatile stock markets. When you look back at your journey as an entrepreneur and as MobiKwik, what are those big things that stand out for you today?
I think the first and foremost big thing is that I was always a strong believer, but I think my conviction has only increased in the fact that if you just don't give up, then you will succeed. It's like, think of it like this. You're trying to summit a mountain, like you're trying to do a hike up a mountain or a hill, and you want to summit. And along the way, you will keep meeting people or groups of people, and the groups will say that it's snowing or the weather is bad, turn back, or it's, people are slipping, somebody slipped and had an accident. So along the way, you will keep going through these obstacles, and you may have people who tell you that you need to turn back, it's not safe. But the thing is that if you look beyond these naysayers, and if you have the eye on the summit, and if you just keep walking up, what is going to happen? I think that is sort of what epitomizes our journey. That is how I think about it. I think that along the way, there have been many near-death situations. And in all of those situations, I can tell you that we were not the only ones. As a founder, you would know other founders as well. I think many people would have had difficult situations. And in some cases, they had even more resources, like more cash in the bank, more supportive investors, or many things going for them. But despite that, they decided it was easier to shut down and pivot, or easier to shut down and start again. And we said, no, we are going to keep going and we are going to make this happen. So I think when we started out, this is reality, okay? It's not a joke. My own father, he passed away, but when I was starting, he was like, what are you doing? You left your nice job at PayPal, gave up your green card. Kya fayda hai Stanford mein padhai karne ka? Now you are coming back and starting from scratch. And I told my dad कि थोड़ा सा आप मेरे पे trust रखो, give me some time, and I think in a year or maybe 2.5 years, I'll make something out of it. And I promise you, if I don't reach 1 or 2 lakh users, then I will stop. you know what, we reached that 1 lakh users. Then I told him, let me try 10 lakh users. If I can reach 10 lakh users, then I'm making something that is worth it. And we've never looked back. That 10 lakh became 10 million, became 100 million, and we just kept going. So the idea is that if you are finding customers who believe in your product or service, then how does it matter what everybody else is saying about it? You have your customers' trust, and I do believe that we did a listing also in fairly tumultuous times. In 2024 calendar year, no other fintech in India got listed. So we got it done, and I think some of our investors reaped benefit also in the January 30-40 day time frame after that. So I think that we have found investors also who are willing to back the long term goals of the company, and I have belief. I think that just like our customers have bestowed trust in us over the years, and we have worked very hard to repose that faith, I believe that investors also who have now come on this journey with us, I think they have to give us some time, because literally we completed the IPO, by the time it was Christmas. You start making your strategies of how to deploy the capital. And so we've literally started deploying the capital in Feb, and we are sitting in March. It's going to take us, couple of quarters to create that value from the investment bets that we have made now. And I think the markets are tumultuous, so it's impacting everyone, including us. But I think that's sort of how I think about it, that people who really understand the MobiKwik vision, who have understood how this company and management and promoters behave, I think they will have the wherewithal to stand with us, and I'm sure that they will see, that we will work extremely hard.
In your leadership, yours and Bipin's, where do you want to take MobiKwik in the short term, medium term to long term? And you talked about a 50% growth that has been your track record. Do you think that's a sustainable growth rate? Are you likely to end the fiscal FY25 with similar numbers? You have already demonstrated it in 2 quarters. 1 quarter, like you said, is a blip. Where do you expect FY25 and FY26 top lines and bottom line growth to be?
See, FY25 is now almost gone, so I'm not so concerned about FY25. And also from a recently listed company, I think it will be pretty wasteful to say that, we did an IPO at the end of December and, it will give you immediate payback in the last quarter. I think business doesn't work like that. I think that whatever solid growth bets that we are taking now, the early green shoots of that might be visible in Q1 of FY26. And actually the real juice will start showing in Q2, Q3. And I think that is what we are working towards. In the short term, what will MobiKwik be? MobiKwik will continue to be a strong fintech that continues to become profitable. Work profitably and grow profitably. That will be the mainstay. It continues to solve problems for the masses of India, whether it is customers or merchants. And our focus has been on tier 2, 3 and 4 markets, because we see more opportunity over there for distribution of financial products. So I think there you will see us. That's the short term goal. So for FY26, the goal is to achieve profitability and to achieve a certain growth scale. I think from a long-term basis, the aim of the company and the promoters and the management is to create tenfold growth. I think the opportunity is immense, and this is the first year of being listed. So I am excited in thinking about that 2009 to 2025 we have reached here. 2025 से 2030 में कहाँ पहुँचेंगे, 35 में कहाँ पहुँचेंगे? And how much can we grow by then? Can we grow 5x? Can we grow 10x? I think those are the type of things that we are thinking about per se.
So 10x growth. What would it take for you to go after this dream of 10x growth in the next 5 to 10 years? What are those big pockets of opportunity, the white spaces that you're going to go after? What are the big bets that MobiKwik will take?
Right. So I think the first thing is that we are focused heavily on figuring out how to crack small ticket daily life spending for the user And to that extent, it dovetails on our credit business as well as our UPI business. So, one interesting product that we are working hard on, and it is currently under closed user group, is a product which is a co-branded RuPay credit card. Now, we call it the first card. Why do we call it the first card? Because there are many Indians who will never qualify for an unsecured credit card in India. Roughly about 75 million credit cards are there in India, and they've been given to 55 million unique Indians, which is a very small sort of blip in the ocean. Now we wanted to solve for that. So we said, how do we solve for that? Underwriting policies will never give something to people who are making 50-60,000 rupees per month in terms of earnings. So we came up with this concept of a secured card. Why will some people said, why will a user give security? We said, because we'll make sure that their FD earns a good yield. So now imagine if somebody is spending 10,000 rupees per month digitally. Somebody else is spending 5,000, somebody else is spending 25,000. Whatever is it that you are going to spend, we'll ask you to park an FD of that. The FD is parked in a bank where you are getting a strong yield, much higher than what you are getting with the regular commercial banks. So your money is earning for you, it's not wasting. On the back of that, you are getting a credit card for an equivalent or almost equivalent value. Now this credit card you can use everywhere. Now while you use the credit card and you pay your bills on time, your credit score will also get created. For most of the massy Indians, they don't have a credit score. Now what is the catch here? It's a RuPay credit card. So you can use it anywhere on UPI. You don't have to just pay at a POS terminal. You can save the credit card in your MobiKwik app and you can scan any QR and pay, and all your spends, instead of going to your bank's account, will dip into this RuPay credit card. So if 10,000 rupee is your monthly digital spend, all of that will show on this card. The card is accepted everywhere on UPI, so you can use it everywhere. So it's a very exciting product. Now what is in it for MobiKwik? What is in it for MobiKwik is that we wanted to give this type of spend small ticket product to most of our users. And we used to have a BNPL product called Zip for this. Now of course that product is scaling down because BNPL is not something that appeases regulators so much. So we were looking for a form factor that is more amenable. Credit card is a form factor that is very amenable. It is solving for the user because they can use the credit card everywhere on UPI. They are earning on that FD, they have a credit card, and also because it's a RuPay credit card. So as a company, MobiKwik, who will of course is co-branding this with a bank partner, will earn, because on the UPI network, RuPay credit card earns MDR. So it's a revenue generating product, and out of that revenue I can also give possibly some rewards to the user. So it will be the only credit card which is RuPay credit card, works on UPI, gives rewards to the user. So from a user perspective it is a win-win. For MobiKwik perspective it's a win-win. Why? Because it's a super innovative product. Nobody has built something like this, and if we are able to scale it right, it will allow us to capture a good chunk of the UPI market share as well as the UPI mind share, which is currently resting with one or two companies. So we had multiple problems to solve, and we said we cannot win in the vanilla UPI game. Vanilla UPI is link your bank account, pay with your bank account, because billions of dollars of marketing money have been spent by others. So we can't compete on that, but we can compete with innovation. This is a new offering. This type of offering is allowed on UPI, and if we do it first, we crack it first and we do it right, then we'll be able to capture a lot of users, good UPI GMV, and generate revenue out of it. Another interesting thing we have done on the payment side specifically is a product called Pocket UPI, which is interoperability is allowed on UPI, and the day it became allowed, we were the first ones who started working on it, and today we have the largest mind share on that also. And the user proposition there is very simple. When you make every daily life payment using UPI, let's say you're buying you're paying for parking 50 rupees, you're paying for taxi, coffee.
Almost everything now, right?
So now you have hundreds of transactions in your bank statement. So you have a completely cluttered bank statement. And on top of that, every time you're doing that purchase, you are entering your bank PIN. And you don't realize you're doing many of these things on the go, people are in the metro, etc., etc. This is how, there are always fraudsters looking for ways who are trying to dupe people. So you're putting your bank account at risk if you're using your bank PIN so frequently for every transaction. Many elite Indians, what they've done is they have two bank accounts. One where the savings are and one is for UPI. Now that is not very efficient, and most masses in India cannot afford to have two bank accounts. So it is an elegant solution to create a wallet account, load some money into it, and now you can scan anywhere and pay, and the money will get deducted from your wallet account. But your wallet is acceptable everywhere, wherever UPI works. So this product, we call it Pocket UPI. And this is again a very interesting product because we haven't seen too many of our competitors jump on this interoperability rail, and we have, and we think that it can also, it has already seen a lot of growth, and we expect it will continue to grow very rapidly. And in the entire UPI ecosystem, MobiKwik's foray in terms of growth is via either Pocket UPI or the first card, which is the RuPay credit card. That is sort of how we are thinking about our growth in the UPI spectrum. But that's not all. Of course, we want to work on the distribution of financial products.
Tell us about the big growth drivers, the bold bets that MobiKwik is taking. We talked about some of them.
Yeah. So we spoke about the payment side, and now I'll switch to the other side, right? So what does the payments business give us? Of course, I mentioned we are trying to build payments profitably and grow it at least 2x in the year to come as well. But the most interesting thing payments gives us, as always, is access to very large number of users and merchants, their KYC and their spend data. And that data is really powerful. And of course, we've built on that, on top of that, solutions like Lens.ai, which help us understand their behavior even better and their needs even better. Keeping that in mind, we started building this vertical, one for credit, one for savings, and the other one for insurance. So insurance and savings, I would say, are still the baby verticals. In the credit business, we are trying to diversify, where we are trying to do multiple products, some secured, some unsecured, some in the FLDG model, where we have 5% risk in the game, skin in the game, and also lead gen, where we have zero risk in the game. So for example, let's say there are certain users of mine where I've understood their needs, I know they would like a loan product, but let's say they want a 10 lakh rupee loan. Now, in the ZIP EMI loan products that we do, where we give personal loans, we don't go up to that range. We do 50,000 to 2 lakh type of loans. So in that case, I have now partnered with banks or NBFCs who will offer that 10 lakh rupee kind of loan at the right APR for that user, so that I am able to generate that loan for that user, which my partner bank or NBFC will give, and I will get an upfront commission for that. So that's the lead gen or digital DSA model. This is something we didn't do in the past, but this is also something we have now started. Apart from that, in the FLDG loans or the loans where we have skin in the game, apart from personal loans, we are trying to diversify into other products, whether it is merchant loans or there are some other products also that we are trying, to build. So risk-free products and a bundle of products instead of one or two products. In the investing side, we started our journey with direct mutual funds, then we added digital gold. Then we recently, in the last few months, we have added fixed deposits, and now we are trying to add more products over there, so that our users can make their investments directly from the MobiKwik app into super safe products, so to speak, which are not easily accessible to them from other channels or even from their own bank. Then finally, coming to the insurance side, we have the insurance distribution license. In the past, we had not really started working on that. Very recently, we have just started piloting a few products, and we are now in the process of identifying the right partner insurance companies, and the intention is to launch a bouquet of products, both for our users as well as for our merchants. So I think many of these areas may sound early to you, but the the intention is to do 2-3 different things in these, and generally the way this goes is that if we try 2-3 different things, at least one thing we are able to scale it very rapidly so that it becomes meaningful in the 1 year or 18-month time frame. Competition. So the market has always had intense competition. I think last 10-12 years we have seen hyper competition, ever changing, regulatory landscape, and I think despite all of that, we have also seen the digital public infrastructure get created, Aadhaar, account aggregator, etc., which has also supported the ecosystem. And we just had the opportunity to hear directly from the new governor, and I think that we do expect that fintechs will continue to get a lot of regulatory support. There will be opportunities where we can partner with large financial institutions and banks, because personally I definitely think that there is room for everyone in the BFSI or financial space. There are OEMs who are very good at building those products. For example, we have so many NBFCs, solid. They have very good products, very good risk underwriting, collection strategy, etc. But what many of them lack is distribution. And distribution is something that as a fintech company we have cracked. We have millions of users, millions of merchants. And that is sort of, the gap that we bridge. Can we help with distribution? Can we solve for user experience? And can we do it at a very low, cost of user acquisition? And this is something that is meaningful for these OEMs. At the same time, what these OEMs bring, which is the right financial product, the right wherewithal on underwriting, collections, etc., and the balance sheet to support it. And these are the kind of partnerships that can solve in a meaningful way for financial inclusion in India. So, I mean, I'm a big believer. I think that it is a good time to be, in the fintech space in India. There is a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of mind share from the government, from the policy makers, as well as from the regulators directly. They do want to see the system grow. They do want to see more and more products reaching the last user in the last village. And I think that gap can only be bridged via relay. It can't happen with everyone competing with everyone. It's a relay, not a race, is what I would like to say. For us as fintechs, within fintechs, yes, there is a lot of competition, but everyone has their own mainstay, so to speak. And for us, the mainstay is going to be differentiation, is going to be on the back of innovation, innovation on product, very high bar on governance, and that tightrope of high growth but profitability.
Upasana, how do you look at this, work hour debate? And it has come up time and again, right? 70-hour, 90-hour work week. We've talked about work. We've seen workplace stress and what it means for employees at times. What really is a right way of measuring productivity? How many hours do you work? How many hours do employees at MobiKwik work? And, are you flexible about the work hours? Are you rigid in certain ways, on the number of hours that need to be punched in? How do you weigh in on this debate?
Well, firstly, I try to avoid controversy, so I would not like to make a controversial remark, but I'll tell you what I think. So, what I think is that, you have to know what is real impact in terms of work. So, if you're sitting at your desk for 12 hours, but if you not accomplish anything meaningful, then it is worth zilch to the company. It is meaningless if you are working for 100 hours, but you've not done anything meaningful or impactful. So to that extent, I am more focused on the quality of impact or the quality of work that has resulted in impact to the business. That's the first thing I'll say. Second thing I'll say is that I don't count regularly hours, but I would say that my work hours could be anywhere from 8 hours to 12 hours to 15 hours depending on the situation. So I'm not trying to bind myself on a daily basis. But yeah, I can tell you that I hold a high bar for myself. So if I don't work even 5 hours, then I will write an email to HR and say, please mark me half day. because I hold a high bar for myself. That said, the employee policy is not rigid. Discipline is important. We don't have a remote working environment. We have an in-office working environment, and the offices are quite good. They offer all the amenities. But there is flexibility on timing. For example, there is a good chunk of people, who like to start work early, and they would probably start their work by 9:30. But there's an equal number of, youngistan, who doesn't want to come at 9:30. They want to come at 10:30, which is okay. Some people might even come in little later. But then they'll also work till later. I would say that toiling hard for unnecessarily has no sense. But if there is a big release, something innovative is going live, there is some regulatory change, or God forbid, we are a fintech player, so some hole has been found from where some fraud is happening, so the bugs need to be fixed. So whenever people have important things to do, then it doesn't matter whether it is Diwali or it is Holi or whether it is New Year or whether it is midnight.
Yeah, then all hands on deck.
It is all hands on deck.
Upasana, it was wonderful speaking to you. Many thanks for speaking to PTI.
Thank you. Thank you so much.